Hello, all my fellow writers. Sarah Vitale, Wild Boar, at your service from Later in Life Productions. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit the like button for me, subscribe, and let's dive into episodes versus features. We're going to get deep into Save the Cat structure and how to apply that to an episodic format, so if you haven't brushed up on your Save the Cat, now's the time. Check out some of our other videos on that. So you're here because you've got a fantastic idea for a script. How do you decide if that story or concept is best served by a feature or an episodic? Well, let's take a look at some of the key differences between these two art forms. Let's start with the most obvious thing first. Features are self-contained, where episodics are ongoing every week. See? You got this. Easy. This next one's not so obvious, but features are about an event, where episodics are about the characters. If a feature is about the bank robbery, the episodic would be about the bank robbers. And that segues nicely into the next point, which is that features, you're writing for leading roles, somebody that can carry the film, whereas in episodics, you want to create a strong ensemble for a variety of actors. The last point I'll make about the big differences between episodes and features is that in features, you want to give us closure at the end. You want to wrap everything up. Don't leave us with any unanswered questions. And in episodes, we're going to do the exact opposite. We want to hook people with an ending that'll get them to come back next week after we've resolved whatever the main conflict was for the episode. I am going to be using Final Draft 11 on a PC today, and I've gone ahead and set up my beat board to encompass both our episodic structure points and our Save the Cat structure points. If you're not sure how to work with your beat board in Final Draft, shoot me an email and we can get you signed up for some one-on-one coaching. All right, so you reviewed Save the Cat structure, and we're going to dive into that in a moment. Let's focus in on these episodic structure points first. I have set this up as a 5-act structure, and we're going to start with our opening image. This is going to be the first thing our audience sees. It's part of our teaser, and we want to give a strong opening image to really hook them right off the bat. That's going to bring us into our teaser. We're going to spend 2 to 5 pages on that, hopefully in one location, where we start to introduce the characters, start to show us the world, and give us a little tease of what the conflict of the episode is going to be. Act 1, we introduce the story and the conflict, set up the W's, we show the status quo, and then we have our inciting incident. And again, this is going to be a hook at the end of the act. You'll notice every act is going to have its own hook at the end. That's to keep the audience coming back for the next piece of the show. In the old days, that's where they would have put the commercials. All right, Act 2, we want to be all about obstacles and failures. The worst effects are unfolding. It seems like maybe our characters are going to get out of this. They're starting to form a plan, but of course, a disaster. That's our end of act hook. Then we have Act 3, our lowest point. Seems like everything is wrong. The bad guys are winning, but then a little victory. That's our hook. Are they going to make it in Act 4? Then into Act 4, we're building on the strengths and skills. We're starting to see some resolution. We're building towards a climax, and then a hook for the next episode. We're going to have a final image, of course, whatever's on the screen. And then you have an option for next week's teaser, which would be like the next week on. And you're just going to spend a couple pages on that. It might even be the actual teaser for the next episode. Okay, now that we've reviewed a little bit about where our major structure points are for episodes, and I know you've done your homework and reviewed Save the Cat, let's take a look at how this all meshes up together. So what I'm going to show you now is, you know what? Hang on a second. I think we need some music here. Thank you to my husband, Louis Vitale, for the awesome background music. Okay, there we go. So going back to the wide view of my beat board, we see the episodic structure beats lined up here on the top. And then at the bottom, I have my Save the Cat structure points laid out. Save the Cat is typically associated with feature films, and episodic structure is of course for episodes. And I've matched the colors to the JPEG image here. And we're going to start out easy. The opening image is the opening image whether you're writing a feature film or an episodic. So what I'm going to do is just grab this opening image beat point from my Save the Cat structure and line it up with my episodic structure opening image beat point up here at the top. Following along with my episodic structure, I've got my teaser next. Well, we know what those are about. We just reviewed it in depth. I'm going to go down here to my Save the Cat structure and see what that lines up with. And it lines up with the theme. So stating the theme, I'm going to drag up here to line up with the teaser. So you can see what we're starting to do here is align Save the Cat structure to the episodic structure format. This is a really great tool for helping you transition from writing features to writing episodes or vice versa, and it's also great for those of you out there like me that are super structure fanatics and want to hit every single point possible no matter what format you're working in. Next up in your episode, you're going to get into Act 1. This is where you're going to introduce the story, introduce the conflict more. You're going to set the stage, who, what, where, when. Show us the status quo, and lead up to the inciting incident that kicks off the action. Well, if we look at our Save the Cat structure, what does that sound like? It sounds an awful lot like setup. So let's take this setup beat from Save the Cat and position it here over our Act 1 episode beat up top. We also know that at the end of Act 1 we need a hook, and in this case that hook is the inciting incident, the catalyst. So let's take our Save the Cat catalyst point and bring it up. Moving on to Act 2 in our episode, we need a lot of struggles and obstacles. We need to see what's happening to our characters and how they're going to deal with it. Well, that matches up beautifully with our Save the Cat debate point. So let's go ahead and bring that up. And then it should be no shock to you by now, we need a hook for the end of the act. Well, that is going to match up with our break into Act 2 in our Save the Cat structure. If you love this background music, check out the short film Natural Habitat on my YouTube channel that it came from. I wrote and directed it, my daughter starred in it, and my husband composed all the music. Cruising right along, let's come down here and see where we are on Save the Cat. We have moved through all of the Act 1 beat points, and we are into Act 2. Fun and games, midpoint switch, bad guys, all of this. Meanwhile, on our episodic structure, we have moved all the way through the teaser, Act 1 and Act 2, and we are jumping into Act 3. Reviewing Act 3, we see that this is where our characters reach their lowest point. It seems like everything is wrong, there's no way they're gonna win, but of course a small victory, a hook. So, does this line up with anything in Save the Cat, Act 2? Speaking of Act 2, let's go ahead and delete this midpoint switch beat from Save the Cat because that does not apply in an episode. Let's take a look at what we have left down here in our Save the Cat structure points, and we have some fun and games that needs to happen. Well, we can see if we look at our Act 3 that that's going to be our lowest point in our episode, so we probably don't want our fun and games there. Let's bring it up here into our Act 2, where our characters are dealing with a lot of obstacles and small victories. Act 3 makes it pretty easy for us. It says right in both structure sets that the bad guys are winning or they're closing in. So we know that bad guys close in from Save the Cat will line up with our bad guys are winning in Act 3. We also have our lowest point and all is lost, which match up perfectly. The next thing on our Act 3 checklist, if we follow the episodic template, is we need an end of act victory, a little hook, which is the same thing as the break into Act 3 from Save the Cat. Now all we have left to deal with for our Act 2 Save the Cat structure points is the Dark Night of the Soul, and we know that that is actually what happens after the all is lost moment, showing us how the characters deal with their big suffering, so we can move that here to our Act 3 episode structure as well. We are really in the final stretch now, coming into Act 4 of our episode, where our characters are going to learn how to use their new skills, we're going to build towards a resolution, and we're going to find a climax, hopefully a small victory for our characters, and then of course a hook for the next episode. If I adjust my screen just a little bit here, we can see what we still have left to cover is Act 3 of Save the Cat, and up top we have Act 4. So over here are the Save the Cat beats that we have left, and let's see where we can line these up. Let's start from the back and work our way forward, executing the plan equal to climax, so we can move that on up from Save the Cat to match up with our Act 4. And then what we're left with on Save the Cat is our Dig Deep, the High Tower Surprise, Storming the Castle, and Gathering the Team. Now you know from reviewing Save the Cat that these things often happen kind of all together in a big mishmash. And all of it is building us towards the resolution and showing us what everyone has learned, those new skills, so we can put all of these into our Act 4. And then once it's all wrapped up, we have our optional Act 5, or Tag, which is the teaser for next week. Thanks for watching, everyone, and congratulations on your hard work through this video. If you found it helpful, please drop me a like and don't forget to subscribe. You can hit the comments section to let me know what else you want to see. Visit our website at lilprod.com to learn more about our services and our coaching for writers. Thanks so much for tuning in. Till next time.